What's going on, everybody? YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you are, whoever you are. I want to say God bless you. Thank you for watching. Everyone has a personal story, a personal testimony as to how they got to where they are now. There's not a person who was born a 35-year-old, or there's not a person who was born a 60-year-old, but there is a gap in between the time you were born up until the time you are now. There is a story, or there is a series of events that took place in between that time. Folks, they see me in my present state. They see me out in public, ministering, preaching, serving God's people, playing the organ, whatever I'm doing, but they don't know how I got to where I am now. They see the success, or they see where I am now, but how it took me to get to where I am now. I want to encourage someone today. Parents were saved. So I knew about sanctification, holiness, and Christianity, and all that stuff. I knew about it, but I really didn't want to have a part in it. I wanted to neglect it all because I didn't feel as though that I really fit in with anything or anyone, any group, any set clique. Because I was the middle child of five. My parents had five children. I was number three. Stereotypically, this child is often considered to be the one who is the oddball, the strange one, the one who's often overlooked, the one who is often the one who suffers the most, the one who is talked about the most. Yeah, that was me. I was that guy who believed what other people said about me. That's how I viewed myself. I viewed myself as insufficient all of the time because other people viewed me as not being enough, not being good enough. So that's how I viewed myself. My perception, or the way I perceived myself, was based on other people's words. And those words began to sink deep into my heart, sink deep into my mind, and began to plant roots. Their seeds began to plant into me as negativity, and it began to sprout up, and I began to grow up into this negative thinking person because of the seeds that they sowed into my life, or the seeds that I allowed to be sowed into my life. So in school, I had a tough time, I had a rough time, simply because I didn't feel as though I fit in with anyone. I wanted to be with the cool kids. I wanted to hang with the popular kids. I wanted to be athletic enough to be on the basketball squad, or to be strong enough to hang out with the footballers, but I wasn't. I didn't have that. I didn't have what it took. So oftentimes I ate lunch by myself. I even remember a time, second day of school, I remember as if it was yesterday. I went into the cafeteria, but there were so many people, and I was just overwhelmed at the fact that I don't fit in with anybody. I felt as though that I was lost. So I took my lunch and I began to eat lunch in the laboratory, in the restroom, all by myself. eating lunch on the toilet of the school's restroom because I didn't feel as though that me being around those people would do anything. It would hurt me to be around folks knowing that I don't fit in, knowing that the conversation that they are having I can't keep up because that's not something that I can relate to. So emotionally, mentally carrying around this baggage on top of baggage. This is my freshman year in high school. And in this freshman year, high school is when things begin to matter. So one thing that began to matter in the eyesight of many high schoolers is relationships. It is normal for a boy, male, to be attracted to the opposite sex. But me growing up, I never really felt as though anyone really wanted me because I believed how other people viewed me. How I saw myself was how other people saw me. So I didn't have enough kahuna, so I didn't have enough guts to approach someone asking them to possibly go out with me simply because I didn't believe. But there was this one person who seemed to have interest in me, and I had crazy interest in her. And she gave me the opportunity to. So we courted, and everything was fine. Everything was great. Everything seemed as though that life has now a meaning. I now have purpose. I now have a reason to live. I now have what is considered to be destiny. I felt as though I was destined for something because of this. So we were great. Everything was great, but somehow down the line, somehow, some way, she caught feelings for my best friend, and she left me. She left me for my best friend, not just any friend, not just any pal, but he was my best friend, the one who I grew up with my entire life. He was my pal, my buddy, my road dog, my bro, all in one. That was him. But she left me for him, and from that moment on, I sank into a deep, dark, dangerous place called depression. Everything that occurred made me sad. Everything that went on made me sad. I was sad about everything. I began to weep. There were many nights of me crying at night, many nights of me not getting sleep, many nights of me waking up in the middle of the night just crying, not knowing what I was created for, not knowing what I was doing here on this planet, not knowing what I was going to do, because I didn't feel as though I was good enough for anything. So that depression led to stress, and this stress had me to think negative thoughts, and all of the negativity that sprouted up began to erupt like a volcano. Something so small often caused me to break out and leach out into a crazy way. Something so small, you could just touch me on my shoulder and I would literally explode, because I allowed that stuff to sink deep down inside of me, and I didn't know how to control it. So I said that I don't want to be this way. I don't want life to be this way. So there is no purpose for me. There is no reason for me to live. There is no reason for me to keep getting up in the morning. There is no reason for me to keep doing the same thing over and over just to fail over and over again. So suicide was my answer. Suicide was my choice. So I tried to gain as many pills as I could, swallow them. That didn't work. Trying to down or to swallow cough medicine, cough syrup. That didn't work. That didn't work. I tried to cut myself, but that didn't work. I wanted to find the quickest possible way, the quickest possible way for me to kill myself. Because I didn't believe that I had any meaning to live. But none of those things seemed to work. So I began to hate everything. I began to hate everybody. I began to curse God, to say that all this religion, all of this relationship with God and this Jesus and this God and this stuff, all that stuff is fake. And I would often just curse God in my head with my words, because I didn't want any part with it. I didn't want to be around it, because all of this stuff was happening to me. I didn't know why I didn't fit in. Long story short, one day, I believe it was a Saturday night, I was headed to my room to go to sleep. Well, my mother was in the room right next to my room, and she asked me to come here somehow, some way. She saw my internal tears. She saw my pain. Mother knows best. She saw where I was mentally, and she asked to pray for me. She asked to pray for me, and as she prayed for me, as she cried out to God for my behalf, I heard God speak. I heard God tell me that He loved me. I heard God tell me that I had purpose. I heard God tell me that I had meaning, that He was somehow going to use me in the future. Somehow, some way, He told me that He was going to use me, and for Him to tell me these things, for Him to tell me that I am loved, changed my life forever, changed my world, changed everything for the better. For God to tell me that He loves me changed my life. It saved my life. I wanted to kill myself, but God telling me that He loves me led me to know that my life has meaning. Because without God's love, there would be no me. So I want to encourage somebody. I said all that stuff to say that you are somebody. Whoever's watching this, all times, I grew up believing that God was just this angry, big, mean giant. But that's not who He is. God is a God of love. God is a God of grace. God is a God of mercy. Yes, He hates your sin. He hates sin. But He loves you. The Bible says His thoughts toward you, they are of good, they're not evil. He does not think bad things about you. But He loves you unconditionally. He loves you with everything that He has.